1982 logos that load on an early Apple computer screen. Jesus, Vangelis obviously wasn't happy with just a music by credit, eh? These opening credits are so long even the soundtrack isn't really sure when it's supposed to come in. Techno reading. Movie betrays its character bias in the opening text scroll. 2019? Damn, Elon Musk better step up his game if we're going to complete this timeline. It takes over 3 minutes for this movie to begin Blade Runnering. I'm sure the movie has some flimsy reason, but seeing gas fire plumes shoot out of the tops of buildings in the LA skyline just seems stupid as actually. What? They turned buildings into gas pipelines? Seriously, the pacing of this movie makes Gone with the Wind look like a Rick and Morty episode.
You're in a desert walking along the sand when all of a sudden you look down. What? What desert?
Leon would be excellent at CinemaSins.
Let me tell you about my mother.
I know Leon's a superhuman replicant and all, but he lands a perfect kill shot with this pistol while underneath the table, and it has enough force behind it to throw Holden through the fucking wall. Also, they didn't screen for a fucking gun when the possible replicant went through this extremely emotional testing. Also, I guess Leon just quietly escaped after this incident, even though this killing of a police officer was in the midst of a heavily guarded corporate headquarters during business hours. This movie thought Pan Am would still be a thing in 2019. What's next? A flashing billboard for Tower Records? Or a new Brendan Fraser film? A futuristic society with flying cars, sentient AI, and light-up umbrellas still also uses physical newspapers.
A new life awaits you in the off-world colony.
Announce position.
Admiral Kovachin Engambite. He's saying you under arrest, Mr. Deckard.
The restaurant dude was unable to speak English for Deckard a few seconds ago.
Give me 4.
But is immediately called upon to translate for the cops. Also, how the f*** did the old man hear what the cops said from all the way over there? It took me several listens to realize he's using this city speak stuff. The award for worst sound editing ever goes to fucking Blade Runner. Movie unintentionally inspires uninspired future violence porn film franchise. Yes, this is 1982, and yes, that is a Cuisinart product placement. You just didn't realize how early the problem began is all. Movie is proof that if you future porn enough, people will overlook a convoluted story and consider you a classic.
I need you, Dex.
Ah, the old retired dick comes out of retirement for one last adventure cliche. Might not have been so bad back in the 80s, but still nothing original.
I need the old Blade Runner.
Roll credits.
There was an escape from the off-world colonies 2 weeks ago. 6 replicants. 3 male, 3 female.
But I neglected to tell you these details until after we started watching the footage of the Voight comp test.
3 nights ago, they tried to break into Tyrell Corporation. On the possibility they might try to infiltrate its employees, I had Holden go over and run Voight comp tests on the new workers.
Hang on, how could they be set up as hired employees less than 3 days after they broke into the headquarters? This is one of the biggest corporations in the world, right? Do they not have an HR department?
What do they want out of the Tyrell Corporation?
Well, you tell me, pal. That's what you're here for.
Is something literally on fire between these two? Because neither one of them has been smoking during this scene.
They were designed to copy human beings in every way except their emotions.
Okay, I guess we need this obvious exposition, but how does Deckard not already know this? He's been a Blade Runner for long enough to develop a notable track record. He's never run into a Nexus 6 model or heard how they were made. Okay, obviously Coca-Cola's still going to be around in 2019, but this future assumes they're still going to be using the same slogan as the one in 1982. The movie only seems long because it keeps spending time on scenes like this that suggest something is going to happen during this space journey when in reality the only thing that occurs is that you watch said space journey for 60 seconds.
Replicants are like any other machine.
That's replicist.
And I want to see a negative before I provide you with a positive.
What's that going to prove?
Indulge me.
And so he does, because reasons. As the digital shades go down and this room gets dark, even while it's a beautiful shot, I'm still stuck inside this owl's brain. And he's got to be thinking, oh, it's hunting time.
Do you mind if I smoke?
It won't affect the test.
Sure, those enormous plumes of f***ing smoke that are obscuring the shots of your eyes that we're specifically monitoring will have no effect on this test whatsoever.
She's a replicant, isn't she?
Well, I thought the test he was administering was able to tell that 100%. Deckard later learns that she's an advanced replicant, and the test is now in question. But still, he seems pretty casual about his uncertainty here. Thank God dude confirms his suspicion immediately.
More human than human is our motto.
Movie accidentally inspires terrible, repetitive white zombie song.
Rachel is an experiment, nothing more.
A completely illegal experiment that I'm openly disclosing to an actual police officer. I'm so rich, the f*** you gonna do about it? Look, if this one building is willing to digitally whore itself for ad dollars in this future, why would none of the surrounding buildings be lit up with product placement as well? Okay, I guess in the future cops just touch evidence willy-nilly. Also, what is it with Ridley Scott and movies where characters stupidly touch an unknown foreign substance? Deckard first put his finger into this green goo in the tub before picking up the scale, but his finger's completely clean here. Cool origami gaff, but were you planning on helping out in this investigation at all?
Someone was there.
Men? Police? Men?
Look, I don't want to piss off all those Rutger Hauer fans out there, but this performance is so overacted that I think it inspired the last 20 years of Al Pacino's career.
Fiery the angels fell.
Why would a replicant, good or evil, be prone to speaking in poetry?
I don't know answers.
Who does?
Tyro. He knows everything.
God damn it. Once again, how does Roy not know this information? They've already infiltrated Tyrell's headquarters, but they don't know the guy in charge is the guy with the fucking answers.
Where would we find this J.F. Sebastian?
God damn, even the dialogue in this movie takes forever. Even in the midst of this monsoon, Deckard refuses to use the windshield wiper. And even if the car is self-driving, what's the point of a windshield wiper at all? Especially one that's hilariously tiny relative to this enormous windshield. What is this fashion statement? A half hood? An overgrown collar? Does she hate peripheral vision, or what?
He wouldn't see me.
I guess Deckard is able to suspend his hatred of replicants after meeting Rachel, because the power of boners is greater than the power of duty. Thank God this one light in the bar came on. Otherwise, this entire room would still be bathed in darkness and Oh.
I'm sorry. Go home.
Honestly, the words stare at each other for a while turn up together in that order 15 times in this movie's script. Motion sensing lights? Futuristic. Mr. Coffee Maker? Decidedly late 1900s. For some reason, she leaves abruptly. He sees it, and he doesn't say anything or follow her, because all the characters in this movie know there's a mystery involved that doesn't want to tip its hand too soon by characters doing logical things. Didn't the 6 replicants that escaped kill a bunch of people in the shuttle? Aren't they super wanted by the police right now? I mean, Bryant showed their mugshots to Deckard, so they must have distributed them to the regular police. Why is Pris walking around in front of all these cops right now?
You forgot your bag.
Great acting job and all, but Pris is a beautiful pleasure bot. Is all the subterfuge to get Sebastian really necessary when she could essentially just offer him, like, a blowjob? I mean, he might not look like it, but this is a red-blooded 25-year-old.
We scared each other pretty good, didn't we?
We sure did.
We should be friends because of that.
They're toys. My friends are toys. I make them.
Sebastian is Sid from Toy Story all grown up. She's pretty, but how the hell does a guy with this many locks on his door fall for this shit? Why are there no lights on in this ginormous apartment? I know Ridley Scott wanted to create a dark, brooding universe, but this place should have a ton of electricity, considering dude animates nightmares here in his spare time. Do androids dream of electric unicorns running through the woods? And here you go. The inclusion of this f***ing unicorn dream scene is central to the debate over whether Deckard is a replicant or not, since Gaff will later do a unicorn origami thing. But why the f*** is it a unicorn at all? And is it Deckard's only dream he's ever had? My point is, this is a weird-ass image to use as the crux of the argument that Deckard's not human. He could have had a dream about f***ing Rachel, which would be a lot more enjoyable and would be awesome to see Gaff turn that into origami.
Enhance 224 to 176.
Zoom and enhance cliche. Who in the future decided we wanted or needed light fixtures in our couches right behind where our heads want to naturally rest?
Center and pull back.
Movie is so in love with its voice-activated video technology, it forgot to have Deckard tell it what it was to center on. There are a handful of things in the shot when he says center and pull back, and yet somehow the software reads his mind and shows him exactly what he wants to see. This is actually more amazing than replicant building technology. Remember, this is all in the background mirror of the original shot, FYI. If Deckard's able to get this absurd level of detail in this photograph, the technology would not operate like a f***ing slide projector.
Give me a hard copy right there.
Not really about the movie, but this reminds me of my wife's grandmother, who every time we took a photo with our phones would tell one of us, send me a paper picture of that. Also, only in movies, particularly sci-fi movies, can a character go from blindingly drunk to astute and sober as a f***ing judge within seconds. This picture in no way resembles the image or angle he was looking at when he asked for a hard copy. I know I made a crack about Vangelis earlier, but the music in this movie is so amazingly unique and influential. Damn it, I gotta remove a sin. This is some kind of restaurant, but they serve both shark and blowfish. Holy shit, that guy has an eagle on his head.
Fish?
I think it was manufactured locally.
Man, it sure is convenient that Deckard has a molecular analyst seafood vendor nearby to his house. And what kind of person says, I'm gonna start a fish stand and maybe we'll sell fish, but our first and most important commodity will be the ability to determine if small flesh samples are indeed from fish.
Rai Abdul Ben Hassan. He make this snake.
Oh, and he's just right over there, eh? Fantastic luck! This is a future where street vendors can analyze flesh samples and tell you if they're fish or not, but also still has randos herding f***ing ostriches through the alleys. It's super advanced and super dilapidated, all at the same time.
This is your work, huh? Who'd you sell it to?
Jesus, Deckard, let him f***ing take a look at it first. If he's the artificial snake salesman this movie has made him out to be, he probably sold tons of them, and can't ID a single buyer from a single slice of fake snake flesh on site.
Kathy Lewis's, down in first sector, Chinatown.
Holy shit, he did identify the buyer within 3 seconds of looking at the sample. Man, Deckard isn't so much a great detective as he is lucky as fuck. Two things I like about this future: that super unnecessary long pipes are back in fashion, and that bartenders are allowed to smoke said super unnecessarily long pipes while on the job. Power to the people. So Deckard knows or is pretty sure this chick is a replicant, but he still booty calls her from a bar. So either Deckard is down with replicants or just loves fucking more than he loves drinking.
Can I talk to you for a minute? I'm from the American Federation of Variety Artists.
This is kind of hilarious, but why did Deckard need to use a different voice? Zora has no clue who he is.
I'd like to check your dressing room, if I may, for holes. Well, you'd be surprised what a guy would go through to get a glimpse of a beautiful body.
Dude, she just performed naked with a snake for the last several minutes. Everyone got a glimpse of her body. Wait, she just showers that off? It's gotta take her like hours to get all bedazzled, right? There's gotta be a more efficient method. Of all the things the future people waste money on, this is somehow one of them. How much you want to bet some startup trust fund idiot sees the upcoming sequel to this movie, then watches the original, sees this at-home hair-drying bubble thing, and starts a new company around making these things a real product? I'll go $200 on my end.
Of course it's not real. Think I'd be working in a place like this if I could afford a real snake?
I don't know, you seem to be living in relative luxury. How much could a real snake possibly cost? Like half of what the walk-in shower and personal salon hair-drying apparatus cost? Yeah, just let me slip into something a little more comfortable. This is why no one should ever be forced to wear a necktie. You just never know when a replicant stripper is going to suddenly try and choke you out. Bullshit. Zora was just running at a full sprint down an empty road, and Deckard's been stumbling around in the midst of all this foot traffic. But of course, he somehow catches up to her. Boy, Deckard sure got his killing boner up tonight, didn't he? I mean, he knows Rachel's a replicant, but didn't kill her because she was hot. And now he's got Zora in his sights, who's also hot, but I guess Deckard prefers No Way Out to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What the shit? Did someone give the cinematographer the day off when they shot this and didn't tell Ridley Scott? After seeing this replicant get shot and get back up, I'd really like to know what they can and can't do. But the movie is never interested in telling us. Jesus, how many panes of glass are there in this f***ing store? Movie just goes way too f***ing far overboard trying to let me know that Deckard likes to drink. I'm almost drunk just from the multiple Deckard as a drunk shots. I mean, subtlety is a word for a reason. I'm getting distracted from the plot by all these f***ing pedestrians walking literally between street lanes. Death wish, anyone?
Nothing is worse than having an itch you can never scratch.
I guess replicants also enjoy pithy one-liners between beatings to the protagonist. Yes, even the beloved Blade Runner has ex machina moments. Deal with it. Look, I know LA's a pretty rough city these days, but no one in this crowded f***ing street at least notices the killing of some dude? They don't know he's a replicant. Not even Leaving Las Vegas tried this hard to convince you its main character liked the sauce.
I am the business.
Damn, it's like the only directions Ridley Scott gave to Sean Young were to smoke, cry, and wear enormous fur coats.
Remember lessons.
You play beautifully.
Come on, man. She played like 2 measures while you were passed out on the f***ing couch. This is such an obvious come-on that even a replicant should be able to sniff it out. He already thinks she's a replicant, but apparently is just horny enough not to care. Either that or replicant technology is advanced to the point where they can have real emotional attachments with humans. I don't care which is which. I'm just sitting it because the movie basically explains nothing, and I'm kinda disgruntled about it. Man, it sure feels like this movie forgot how to Daryl its Hannah.
Hi, Roy.
Earlier we saw Sebastian using this absurdly secure locking system, and we don't see Pris unlocking it, so how the f*** did Roy get in here?
What generation are you?
Nexus 6.
I thought Roy didn't even know who had the answers at Tyrell Corporation. How the shit does he know what generation he is then?
Pris hasn't got long to live. We can't allow that.
We also can't allow a consistent accent on poor old Rutger Hauer. Meanwhile, at the Jedi Temple.
Blue entry, a Mr. J.F. Sebastian.
It may be cool that Tyrell has an Amazon Echo in a movie from 1982, but it takes place in 2019, by which time Alexa will definitely be old news.
What can he do for you?
And the maker repair what he makes.
Would you like to be modified?
Is every line in this conversation going to be a question? So what if it is? Does anyone want to make a declarative statement? Does it matter? Will this movie ever just get to the f***ing point?
What seems to be the problem?
Well, for starters, all the goddamn candles in this room.
I want more life, Father.
Movie uses the glowy eyes trick whenever it wants the replicants to look like replicants, but this is the first time we've seen Roy's eyes do this. So if it's a matter of the light hitting the irises in a certain way, why doesn't Deckard use various positions with a flashlight instead of that bulky-ass Voight comp machine? Wait, Rutger Hauer here just killed the head of this ginormous f***ing company, and he just bounces? There's no security or code or pass or something to keep him in the building? For no reason at all, Ridley Scott wanted to feature his version of Jawas in this scene. One of the reasons this movie is as long as it is because it lets really stupid moments like Deckard entering the building and climbing the stairs play out in virtually real time. Jeez, why do people think Deckard is a replicant if this chick kicks his ass so handily and he has to shoot her with a gun to win the battle? Also, Pruss is a sex robot specifically designed for leisure. How'd she get these fight upgrades that are effective against a well-seasoned Blade Runner? This goes on for some time.
Come on.
Me, how does Roy know his name? God damn it, characters just know and don't know things willy-nilly in this movie. Cool ass shot, bro, but how the f did he know exactly where to punch through that wall? So is Deckard trying to escape? Because he could have just left the way he came in, considering he's gotten a tremendous head start. Roy strips down to his skivvies for the final chase sequence, because this movie hasn't been visually creepy enough already. Yep, the artificial humanoid thing is piercing his own hands with nails a la Christ, because, well, shit, I don't know. He wants to live, but he's gonna die. He's a robot. Somehow he's decided a Christ analogy is deserved, and honestly, if it gets us closer to the end of this movie, so be it.
I'm gonna have to kill ya!
After being a literal superhuman the entirety of this movie, Roy turns into a horror movie villain cliche for the last several minutes. I mean, is there any reason for him to toy with Deckard at this point, besides for the audience? Somehow Deckard finds himself temporarily in Dark City.
Time to die.
Wait, but it's 2019, right? Roy's incept date was 2016, and the Nexus 6 generation has a
4-year lifespan.
So what the shit happened here? This slow-mo dove shot is basically a prophecy of Zack Snyder and John Woo's careers.
I guess you're through, huh?
And I guess you, pimp version of Edward James Olmos, have conveniently waited until the end of the movie to speak English.
Do you love me?
I love you.
Do you trust me?
I trust you.
So obviously, only the new generation of replicants can experience emotions. If Deckard's a replicant, then he's in the same generation as Rachel, and he's only been around for a few years max. And if that's the case, then everyone's in on the plan, including Bryant, Gaff, Terrell, Holden, and the entire LA Police Department. And that's some bullshit.
Replicants are the future, but I can only make so many.
More human than human is our motto.
Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
So that I may talk. Squirrel!
Here's Johnny! You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Starving. Let's get some f***ing French toast.
Use the Force, Luke.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.